Well, greetings. And hi there, everybody. This is kind of a little discombobulated here. I have no intro music because I'm having technical difficulties here. So, hi, how the heck are you? Hope you're having a fabulous day. Hope this day finds you healthy, happy, and safe, and that you're living your best life, whatever it is that you're doing, however you're doing it, wherever you're doing it. Hope you're having a great day. This is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig, and you are watching the Vibrant Living Hour. And we have just a little technical difficulty here. We have the most amazing guest that I can think of for today's show. That would be Arun Gandhi, who is a grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas K. Gandhi, the internationally known peace activist and the man who pretty much is credited with single-handedly ending British rule in India. His grandson Arun has been involved in all kinds of charitable work, helping the less fortunate in the world. He's done all kinds of amazing things that I couldn't wait to talk to him about, but we're having trouble getting him on. Now we have our infamous producer, our world famous producer, Robert Brzezinski, is on it right now, making sure that we get Arun on here sooner rather than later. In the meantime, I'm gonna have a sip of water because now I'm just finding myself just a little stressed out. There we go. So, interesting times we live in, and it's a time where there's immense division going on all over the world, in our country, in our neighborhoods, in our families. And one of the reasons I wanted to have Arun Gandhi on today was simply because he is someone who has really worked personally on changing that paradigm for himself, and that's a story that I hope we'll get to tell with him. But additionally, he has worked tirelessly to help the have-nots in the world so that there is more of a balance. I think so many of the problems that we have in our world right now, and in particularly in our country, are a matter of balance, imbalance, that people are in one of two categories. They're the haves or the have-nots. And it seems like that divide is getting wider and wider, and the distance between them is getting deeper and deeper. And we seem to be kind of in a I don't want to say a tailspin because that's going nowhere but circling the drain, right? We seem to be in a position where we're just battling back and forth, arguing this and that and the other thing, arguing just for the sense of arguing, for the sake of arguing. It seems like that's what's going on all over the planet, and we're not getting anywhere. So I think one of the things we want to do on this network, on the New Thought Media Network, but in particular on my show, on the Vibrant Living Hour, one of the things I want to do is let's bring to the fore just people who have solved this problem in their own lives, have worked to solve the problem in the world, and see if we can get some hints, some tools, some techniques, some thoughts that will help us all maneuver these interesting times. And you've heard me say before, if you watch the show, you've heard me say before, I love the old Chinese saying that may you live in interesting times, which is, to me, it's either a blessing or it's a curse, depending on your perspective, and maybe even just depending on the day of the week. But we certainly live in interesting times where the blessing or the curse is really that simple. It's day to day. Maybe for some of us, it's hour to hour. And it's a time for us to reflect a little bit. What is mine to be and do? How can I change this? How can I make something happen in my life that will develop that ripple effect? The butterfly effect. The butterfly effect. I didn't know that was going to be a tongue twister. The butterfly effect, where a butterfly flaps its wings on this side of the planet and it creates a whirlwind on the other side of the planet. The idea that just peace and love and harmony and just getting along starts in one place and one place only, and that is right here in my own heart. And if it starts in my own heart, then it starts in your heart, and it starts in the hearts of all those around us. And one of the things that I think we can do as a people, as a race, as family members, is to help all those around us do that as well. Develop those skills, develop the tools, develop whatever it takes to be in that position where we can help to generate that feeling of connectedness once again, that feeling of oneness. And I'm not so sure that once again is even appropriate. I mean, we've always had separations. There have always been things that divide us. But in this country, how many times have you heard we have never been more divided than this since the Civil War? And now we've got people talking about civil war. That's not good. That can't be a positive idea in the 21st century. Civil War in the 21st century will look a whole lot different than Civil War did in the 19th century. That's for darn sure. The weapons of Civil War are considerably more sophisticated and more damaging and more capable of hurting more people than the weapons that they used in the Civil War of the 1860s. So yeah, that was, that's the reason to have a man, a world leader, a thought leader like Arun Gandhi on the show. And I know my producer Robert is working tirelessly in the background to bring Arun on. We had technical difficulties. It's one of the things. It's one of the joys of the internet. In several weeks back, or a month or so back, 2 weeks in a row, I got kicked off the show right in the middle of the show. And one of the beauties of this technology that we use, this StreamYard technology, is that StreamYard, when the internet goes down, StreamYard doesn't just end your show. So once I get my internet reconnected, I'm right back here. I'm on the screen, which is really different from pretty much any other software that I'm aware of that's out there. But I solved my problem by, it was simply a Wi-Fi problem. What I did was just grab an Ethernet cable. I didn't just grab an Ethernet cable. The Ethernet cable that runs through my ceiling to my TV set, I took off the back of the TV set and dropped out of the ceiling and came across the room to my studio here, and it is plugged into my computer. And why did I go here? I don't remember. Maybe I'm just babbling today because I'm just trying to get through this. I had a couple of people, looked like there were a couple of people drop by to say hi. If you come by and say hi, please put a comment in and just say that. Just say, hi, I'm here. I'm watching the show, so that I know you're here. It helps me to know that there are people there. And I like this to be an interactive show. If I can get you to participate, ask questions, whatever, I'm thrilled to have you on. I got my producer just said, take a shot of CBD. And the truth of the matter is, I have my display bottles of CBD here, as I always do, from our sponsor, Hempworx. And I don't have my CBD with the bottle with the actual CBD in it. Maybe, you know what? Give me half a second here. We're going to try and solve this problem with a little text message, and we'll see if this works. It's the first time I've ever texted during my show. I think from this point forward, I'll have a bottle of CBD right next to me here, so I always know that I can use it whenever I need to. Hi, Janice. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for dropping by, and I hope you're going to stick around. We have an amazing guest today. If we can just get him on. Technical difficulties this morning or this afternoon, and hopefully we'll get Arun on here sooner rather than later. I'm actually getting a message from him. He has downloaded the correct software, and I think now Robert will be able to send him the invitation, I hope, and we'll see if we can get this done. You learn something new every day when you're using technology. Today, I learned that StreamYard doesn't work so good on Safari, so we needed to have Arun download either Firefox or Chrome. That's pretty funny. Forgot what those were. And while we're here, let's do a quick commercial. All right. I want you to know that this show is brought to you always by Hempworx. Hempworx is the number one distributor, the largest distributor of direct-to-consumer CBD products in the world. And they are the highest quality products. You don't get to be number one in the world by distributing crap, right? Highest quality, purest quality, absolute incredible concentrations. We have 3 different concentrations, 500, 750 and 1500 milligrams per bottle. Is a bottle of 750. Here's a bottle of 500. I don't have a 1500 here with me for demonstration purposes, but that's the concentration of CBD in this 1 ounce bottle. It's a 30 milliliter bottle, which is just a tad more than 1 ounce. And so, if you know anything about CBD, you'll know that quality matters. Don't be buying your CBD in a gas station. Don't be buying your CBD at a convenience store. Just make sure you know who you're dealing with. All of our CBD is third-party validated and tested so that we know exactly what's in each bottle. We actually can trace every single drop of CBD in here from seed to bottle. We know exactly where it was grown, how it was grown, what went into it, and blah, blah, blah. So also comes in 2 two different varieties. There is a broad spectrum and a full spectrum. Full spectrum has the legal limit of 0.3% THC or less in it. And the full spectrum, I'm sorry, then the broad spectrum has 0 THC, so that you, if you're taking a very sensitive drug test, or if you have a very rare allergy to THC, the broad spectrum has none of that in there. If you're taking a test, there's nothing there to be detected. So it's safe for that as well. And believe it or not, 7 different flavors. It comes in the natural flavors: cinnamon, peppermint, watermelon mint, strawberry guava, orange sunshine, and I always come up with 6. I never get the 7th one, and sometimes it's a different one. But the flavors get great marks. Strawberry guava. Did I say that one already? Anyway, the flavors are. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about the flavors. They work great for everyone, and there's not too many other places where you can find all those flavors or the 2 different varieties. And so I think we're working on bringing Arun on the show here. I hope that's what's happening. Our amazing producer, Robert, is working on that. By the way, if you want to know more about Hempworx, if you want to know more about CBD, you can go to my page right there, hempworx.com/Ken Ludwig, or find me. And I'll put the banners up later in the show about, how to find me, how to access me for anything you want to know. If you've got questions, I'm pretty much an expert on the endocannabinoid system, which is the part of your body that CBD interacts with. If you want to know more, if you want to know how it works, what it does, why it does what it does, simply find me and we'll have the discussion. So it's like I have people actually sending me messages here. We are praying for Arun's technology so that we get him on the show here shortly. I hope that works. So we'll and we'll see if my CBD can arrive. See if my beloved Lisa, who's wandering around the building here somewhere, see if she can drop by some CBD. Although she's producing an event on her own right now somewhere else. Back to living your best life, the Vibrant Living Hour, and waiting for our guest Arun Gandhi. And if you're watching the show, please let me know. Make a comment. Say hi. Ask a question if you have a question. If you don't have a question, don't bother. But we'll see what happens here. I am looking for a message here. You just have to bear with me, folks. Look at this, huh? What service is that? My beloved brings me a little CBD. So we'll just relax a moment here and have a little mouthful. Nature's de-stressor, folks. Nothing works better. So I got to get back to Robert here and click the link in Facebook from the Chrome browser. Is that what I'm seeing there, Robert? Click the link in the Facebook for the Chrome browser. Yes. Okay. Back to Arun. Click the link in Facebook from the Chrome browser. I just have no idea here. I've got my computer is up on a podium here because it's where I broadcast from. I use the microphone and the camera for my computer, and so it's not so easy to get your hands up here to type something out to somebody. I don't know if you can even see. Oh, you can see the bottom of my hands here. So we'll see here if we can make this work. It's always fun. Lisa's asking, what is the topic of the conversation with Arun? The conversation with Arun is really going to be about these stressed out times that we live in, these crazy times, these separated times that we live in, and what are his recommendations? What does he do as he's trying to bring people together and help the less fortunate in the world? What does he recommend we do to just help one another, to be kind, to be compassionate, to assist one another? Obviously, one of the great messages of his grandfather was compassion. And certainly Martin Luther King took his lead from Arun Gandhi. I also want to talk to him about some things in the world that he's been a part of. The Years ago, my beloved Lisa and I taught in the teen church at Mile High Church here. We taught metaphysics on Sunday to teenagers, to high school students. And one of the things we did every year was celebrate the season for nonviolence, which is something that Arun Gandhi created. And I really want to talk to him about that. So that'll be part of the conversation as well. If we can just get Arun on the show. And I'm hoping that's coming up shortly. And you have to excuse me here while I'm checking messages and stuff to make sure that we're working on this. The worst case scenario is we will reschedule Arun for another time. I hope that is not the case, but we're 25 minutes into the show here, and I really want to spend the time with him because he really is a world leader and a thought leader and someone whose influence is felt in many, many quarters all around the world. He has a nonprofit that's based at the University of Rochester in Rochester, New York. That is the MK Gandhi Institute, named after his grandfather, MK being Mohandas K. Gandhi. He also has he's the president of an educational institute called the Gandhi Worldwide Education Institute. And that's where they really spread the message of nonviolence all over the planet, and try to rescue and train children living in poverty so they can break their oppressive cycle of poverty that crushes them generation after generation after generation. If you know anything that people what do you call those people who study these things? Oh my God. Social scientists, which is not the name I'm looking for, but social scientists will tell you all day, every day that poverty breeds poverty. Poor people remain poor because there is just a cycle. You can't afford to go to the dentist today, so you wind up losing all your teeth. You can't afford healthy food today, so you wind up with diabetes or heart disease or something from the poor diet. You can't afford to rent in a safe neighborhood, so you live in a violent neighborhood, and that just continues because that's all you can afford. And then your children are born into that environment, and that continues and continues. Arun Gandhi he and his late wife were instrumental in working on that, on breaking that cycle, on helping to help those who are in the greatest need in that regard. His wife, Sananda, I was looking for her name there. So here we are, and we're still hoping that Robert wasn't expecting this today, but neither was I. I normally just click the link and it works, and I don't know, it would appear that maybe it's a Chrome browser issue, but we'll see, and hopefully we'll get Arun on here shortly. Janice, I hope you're still there watching. And we're just going to keep our fingers crossed. I did a post here today on Reels, on a Reels post on Instagram that is something I've talked about many times in the past. It is that idea of who am I? And who are you? And do you know? Do any of us know? Do any of us really know? Or do we spend way too much time focused on why am I so seldom the person that I really want to be, rather than focusing why do I so seldom want to be the person who I really am? We all have these facades, these masks, these personalities that we've constructed, that we've put together with basically self-defense mechanisms, ego defense mechanisms of, Don Miguel Ruiz in his great book, The Four Agreements, which we covered in previous shows, he calls it the domestication. Buckminster Fuller said he believes that the vast majority of us are born geniuses, but we are de-geniused. And in the process of being de-geniused, what happens is we create this facade, this alternate being who is not really us. And what that leads to is stress. It leads to a feeling of not being fulfilled. It leads to dissatisfaction. It leads to that ache in our hearts that I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm not who I want to be. But is who I want to be real, or is it the construct? And one of the things I know for certain is that if you really want to explore who you truly are, as opposed to the picture you've painted, that you want other people to see, or that you want to see in the mirror, or however that works for you. If you really want to make the shift into who am I really, you're going to find that in meditation. You're going to find that in the silence. I'll also tell you something else. Those of you who are following my issue with my back know that I immediately, when I had this thing about degenerating discs and I was experiencing that, I immediately went to Joe Dispenza's first book, Evolve Your Brain. Well, I've revisited Joe, excuse me, just recently here. I revisited his work. And one of the things I came upon was a YouTube video, and I watched it. It was probably half an hour long or more. And Joe has a meditation attached to his book, Becoming Supernatural, his last book. And in those meditations, he has you trying to focus your attention on the space that your body occupies, the space that the planet occupies, the space that is space. And I never quite got it, never understood it really. And then I listened to this video, watched this video, and I totally got the idea. In my meditation this week, every day this week, I have gone to a place of focusing my attention on just the vastness of space, and not as a whole, just the space where I am in any moment, floating through space, experiencing space, and recognizing that I am just there in space and bringing myself back to that. It is the best thing I have ever done within a meditation to keep me in the moment, to keep me from going into my monkey mind and worrying about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen when I come out of meditation. How much work do I have to do? This just keeps me in the present because I'm just gazing upon the blackness of space, the galaxies of space, the stars, but primarily just the blackness, the emptiness. And what Joe's goal is for each of us to get to a place where we're nowhere but there, and then to gradually get to a point where we're not even present as a being. We are just consciousness. We are just our awareness in space. That's where you'll find the true self, in that meditation, in those meditations with Joe, or meditations, no two people are the same. No two meditative practices are the same, and not all meditations work for everybody. That's why there's so many different meditative practices out there. There's gazillions of them. I've been practicing TM since 1978, and I've practiced many, many, many other different kinds of meditation over the years, and I always wind up coming back to TM. Let me just stop here for a second. Robert, Arun says he clicked the link on Facebook, the Facebook link for whatever it was that message was. The Facebook link for the click the Facebook link from the. You know what? Hang on here, folks. Let's see if we can. We're still working on getting Arun in. Yeah, Robert. He said that he clicked it. He's also downloaded one of the other softwares, and I'm not sure which one it was, Firefox or Firefox or Chrome. That's what he was supposed to download. I'm sorry, Robert. I'm confusing the issue. Back to where I was. The challenges continue. So that whole question. Am I really my true self, or am I really just some construct? Am I the person I really want to be, or am I focused on the person who I really am? And I love Bucky Fuller's quote that I just gave you a little bit ago. It's not really a quote; it's a paraphrase of him. He believes the vast majority of us are born geniuses, and that we are de-geniused. Stop and think about that. A lot of people maintain that the pathway to awakening, the pathway to raising consciousness, is not to acquire a whole bunch of skills or things like that. What it really is about is forgetting things, losing the things that de-geniused us, losing the things that is, again, as Don Miguel Ruiz says, losing the things that led to our domestication. I kind of love that. It's the first parts of the 4 agreements before he actually gets to the agreements. He talks about how each and every one of us is domesticated, but the domestication is not like domesticating your dog or your cat. The domestication that that Don Miguel is referring to is how we conform, how we fall into place and fit into society's norms, society's box that they would have us be in. And then we in turn put other people in boxes and put ourselves in a box, and we keep ourselves there. Everyone says, you have to think outside your box, and most people don't even have a concept of what their box is. Your box is a moving target. It's different from day to day. But basically, to me, from my perspective, the box is always, the walls of the box are all the things that I fear. They're everything I'm afraid of. They're everything I allow to annoy me. They are everything I allow to bother me. Remember that incredible expression that and I forgot the fellow's name, but we talked about him on the show as well. But I am precisely as large as what I love and precisely as small as the things I allow to annoy me. That also closes in your box. When you allow things to annoy you, when you are afraid of things, you cannot operate from a position of love. If you operate from a position of love, there is no box. There are no walls to the box. You are free to do whatever it is you choose to do, whatever it is you want to do in this moment and every moment. Hang on again. I got some messages here. So I'm just getting updates from my amazing producer, Robert. He is trying desperately to make this happen, and we'll see if it does. And again, the worst possible scenario is we're just going to reschedule Arun. I mean, at this point, there's we might have 20 minutes with him if we get him on, and that might not be enough to cover all the things that I want to cover with him. So we'll see how we figure that out. Maybe we'll just have an ongoing communication with him post show and get him straightened out so that he can get on here to chat with us, because I know he's going to be a fascinating guest. And Robert, I'm assuming you're in contact with him. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna try and get Arun the information he needs. Robert will get that to him so that we can actually bring him on as a guest and start him off at the beginning of the show instead of more than halfway through it. But in the meantime, I have obviously nothing prepared. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here today. That idea of your box being something that is completely defined by your fears and your annoyances. I mean, the annoyance thing is just something that's come to me in the last many months. It's because the things that annoy you, to whatever extent they annoy you, to whatever extent where they come from in your past, aren't they also a function of fear in one way, shape, or form? And that's what defines the box. And if you want to get outside the box, you have to become greater than the emotions that keep you in the box. In other words, become greater than your fears. And the only way you become greater than your fears is to face your fears down and to move on to the next thing. Just look them squarely in the eye and keep moving. Don't let them stop you. I see this all the time in my business. My business is network marketing. I'm a professional network marketer. The Hempworx company is part of a huge organization called My Daily Choice. It is one of 6 brands under an umbrella of My Daily Choice. There'll be 9 brands shortly. But in network marketing, we talk all the time about the fears. And the biggest fears that we have are fear of rejection, fear of public speaking, fear of death, and so many things in our lives that we are afraid of are just little microcosms of that fear of death. The other thing that the ego is petrified of is looking silly. The ego, of course, is the source of all fears. It wants to be right. It always wants to be right. It always wants to blame. It always wants to judge. It always wants to point fingers somewhere. It always wants to be 100% in the right. And when it's not, there is a fear that goes with that. So that's a contributor to that whole box thing. Um, and so Robert just gave me the heads up here. He said it's improv time. So here I am improvising. And I know we've had a couple other people join the show here. If you're here today, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but if you're here, please comment, just say hi. So I know you're here. And if you have any questions of me, that something you heard me say in a past show or something you'd like me to talk about, please feel free. Today's the day. This could be a Q&A pretty easily for the last 15 minutes of the show, if that's what you want to do. In the meantime, I'll have a sip of water. I'm kind of bummed that we couldn't bring Arun on today. The things that he has been involved in over the years are really, really quite amazing. He was born in South Africa, in Durban, South Africa, and he was tormented and ridiculed, and he was very much a victim of prejudice from both sides, because the blacks in South Africa thought he was too white, and the whites in South Africa thought he was too black. So he was abused from both perspectives, and that resulted in a lot of extreme young man anger, and a lot of, when young men get angry, young men really, they think of one thing, and that's revenge. How do I get back at you, or back at them, or whatever that is? But at age 12, is a direct result of this violence, this anger, this hatred that he had in his heart. He was sent to live with his grandfather, Mahatma Gandhi, in India. And during the next several years, he lived there with his grandfather for 2 years, and he learned many, many valuable lessons. And according to Arun in his bio, he says it changed his life forever, living with his grandfather. It's hard to imagine that it wouldn't change your life forever. But it's interesting to me that, we talk about, when I just mentioned that he had this thought, this young man's thought of revenge in his heart. That's all he was thinking about, was revenge. Isn't that a place where we're living right now? Isn't that kind of the dynamics of our world right here, right now, today? We are living in a place where everybody is so mad at everybody else that every time you humiliate someone, or you what's the right words here? It's not so much humiliate them, but you make them wrong. Your ego makes them wrong. Their ego comes back with wanting to kill you. And I don't mean that literally. I mean that as, figuratively, that there's the revenge factor in mind. I've had a couple of instances myself here in recent times driving. Surprise. Where one guy threatened my life, and I literally did nothing to make him mad if he knew what he was doing, because he didn't. We were both, I'm not going to describe it to you, but he absolutely made a wrong decision in driving. He made a wrong decision. He made a bad decision, and he then chose to blame it on me, which was certainly interesting. But that revenge thing came out. That was part of it, and it makes me think of so much of the adolescent male, and both of these people were males that I had these incidences with. But that's the kind of things we'll talk about with Arun when we bring him on. How did his grandfather change his life as far as the that feeling of hate and revenge, that anger, that hate and that revenge, the direct result of being humiliated basically as a preteen, which is, formative years, difficult time to be humiliated over and over and over again by you can't be on one side or the other. You're too black for the whites and too white for the blacks. You got a problem, and especially in South Africa during apartheid. Can you imagine? That'd be a tough way to go. I'm going to finish the show here today with a thought that came to me. A friend in my business made a comment in a Zoom, and I hope she's not listening because I don't want to embarrass her. She referred to herself as the self-care guru. And I was like, OMG. I had a big OMG moment. Tony Robbins famously did a video or something that was, I am not your guru. It might have been a book. I really kind of stopped paying attention to Tony Robbins years ago, but I'm not your guru. And the flip side of that coin is there are no gurus. Guru is I believe a Sanskrit word. It's a Hindu word, a Sanskrit word that means enlightened one, I believe. You know what? And we're gonna and here's what I'm gonna tell you right now. We are going to be definitive on that because I absolutely do not want to missay that. It's both in Hinduism and Buddhism. Guru is a spiritual teacher, especially one who imparts initiation. And then there is also they're defined as each of the 10 first leaders of the Sikh religion, which is kind of a non sequitur to what I'm talking about. But it's supposed to be an enlightened being, a spiritual teacher. And the minute somebody says, I am a guru, I'm like, sorry, see ya. Because in essence, in the world of spirituality, if you're going to be a spiritual teacher, you don't need a title. What you need to do is model spiritual principles. You need to model love, compassion, kindness, integrity, what some people would call God qualities. You have to model those things. That's a spiritual teacher. So if you're out there and if you're looking to start your workshops and your model and do whatever you're going to do in the world to be a spiritual teacher, do it because you're living the God principles, the God qualities. Don't do it because you want to be called a guru or you want to call yourself a guru because you ain't. That's simple. And I hope my friend who I'm quoting here doesn't watch the show. Anyway, I'm sure she won't. But Robert just chimed in here that in Sanskrit it means mentor, guide, expert, or master, which is pretty much what the spiritual teacher thing is all about. If I had a little more time, I would have gone into the etymology of the word. I was quite sure it was a Sanskrit word, as I said, but that's not the definition that you get when you just Google guru, which is all I had time to do here on the show. So anyway, that's pretty much it for me today. And I want you to know that if you watch our shows, if you like what we're bringing to the fore here, go to newthoughtmedia.org, ntmedia.org, click on donate, and just donate whatever your little heart desires, whatever you feel called to provide us with in the way of finances. We're up for it. We're grateful. We're very, very thankful for all of your contributions because it's what helps keep us alive. We are a nonprofit organization, as I said, so everything you give is tax deductible. How does it get better than that? If you want to find me, you can find me on, send me an email at teamrockitnow@gmail.com. I'm going to change that here in the near future. We'll have a different email for you here. You can also go to my what am I trying to say? My branded. I'm having trouble with words today. That's not a problem I normally have. My branded Facebook page, my beloved Lisa's and my branded Facebook page, Vibrant Aging, which obviously ties into the Vibrant Living Hour. Vibrant Aging is kind of where Vibrant Living takes you to Vibrant Aging because there's no place else to go. You can only go to aging. So you can find us there if you're interested. And once again, sponsor of the show is Hempworx. And you want to know more about CBD, find me at any of those places, Vibrant Aging or teamrockitnow@gmail.com, or go to my Hempworx page if you want to order something. By the way, we've got about another 6 hours left. If you are interested in trying CBD, follow me here because I don't have anything to show this to you. You can find it on my, if you went to my Hempworx page, you will find this. We have the 1,500 milligram bottle of broad spectrum CBD. That is the highest concentration of the CBD with 0 THC, nothing to detect in a drug test. If you're sensitive to THC or have an allergy to it, there's no THC in there. So it's broad spectrum, 1,500 milligrams, the highest concentration in any one of our 7 flavors. Those bottles cost $149 a piece for preferred customers. That's what you can buy it at. We have a special going on that ends today for the next 6 hours, I think, or so. You can buy that bottle for $99. But the catch is you have to buy 2 of them for $99 instead of $149. You're going to save $50 a bottle right there. That's $100 savings right there. But guess what? You're going to get a 3rd bottle for free. So if you buy 2 at the discounted price, you get a 3rd one for free. Bottom line is you're going to pay $198. You're going to save $249. Going to save $51 more than what you spent. So that's on hempworx.com/Ken Ludwig. Go there, check it out. Be glad to have you become a customer of mine. That would be fabulous. And if you have questions beforehand, please come and find me. Anyway, as I said, that's it for me today. As always, I'm immensely grateful for the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and blessings that the universe has to offer. And until next Thursday, when I know we'll get my guest in here live, I wish you nothing but peace, love, and happiness. Namaste.